Kinjal Shah is with us, co-group head and senior vice president at ICRA. We also have Mark Martin, founder and CEO at Martin Consulting. Gentlemen, good morning. Great to have both of you here. Thank you very much. Mark, let me come to you just on, this is an aircraft, of course. And by the way, as I understand it, Air India already has, I think, about 20 or 25 pending orders for exactly this model of the aircraft. Is there a need? While we wait for what exactly happened, and I think it'll come out during the course of the investigation, will this lead to a bit of a reconsideration for this specific model across the board?
No, thanks for having me. I've come on CNBC in much better pleasant times, and it's unfortunate that we need to respond on possibly the worst ever air disaster in 30 years in aviation, at least modern history. The 787 worked great with Air India from 2011 till 2025 till this day. The 787, now granted, has had maintenance issues, has reliability issues, has had maintenance quality issues, but never has the aircraft broken up or never has the aircraft structurally failed. And what we've seen here clearly is that the aircraft took off. He was at 600 feet. He was getting into his climb phase. He needed engine thrust, and the engines let him down. So now, what would have improved the survivability of this? Well, guess what? Those who have traveled to most parts of the world know this very well, that airports are deliberately kept at least 60 kilometers away from city and urbanization. So when you take off, you have just fields and fields and fields. So even if you were to bring the aircraft down, we're just going to bring it down on a soft field. But with urbanization, we've actually created these huge mega office blocks, buildings, offices, residential plots, apartments right next to the airport. So there's no chance in hell that any aircraft can even recover from an engine flame out or an engine failure. Fundamentally, the 787 is a pretty good aircraft. It flies in over 40 airlines across the world. India was the launch customer for the 787-8. It was an iconic aircraft. It still is. It's one of the most advanced aircraft out there with fiber optics and a servo on board. Air India mastered operating that aircraft. The pilot had 10,000 flying hours. One of the finest aircraft in terms of cabin quality. I'm gonna raise one question here, and let's not dodge this bullet. This incident happened after 2021 when Air India was transferred over to Tata's and Singapore Airlines. We all criticized Air India when it was under government ownership, that Sarkari airline hai, Sarkar hai. But guess what? It's a private airline for 4 years. And Air India, since 4 years, continues to have not just this, but subtle, sublime violations from pilot, crew, training, maintenance. The DGCA has fined Air India the highest. Till today, you know the reviews as much as I do. Aircraft quality is lousy. The maintenance quality is bad. This is under a private Air India. So let's come down to facts over here and be factual. This crash has happened to an Air India that's a private Air India, not a government Air India. And enough is enough. I think clearly, and this investigation, before I finish, just give me one more minute. This investigation no longer is going to be smoke and mirrors with the government and AIB and DGCA. This is a global affair. The world's first 787 crash. So we have the NTSB, we got EASA, we have Transport Canada. Every investigating agency has sent over a representative and a delegation to find out what happened. And it's high time we have accountability. The government of India, Mr. Modi, the ministry, Mr. Naidu, they need to start sharpening their knives and crack the whip, because enough is enough. It's a private airline. We need to hold Air India accountable. We understand we're all mourning. It's a tragic situation, extremely sad. My heart goes out to everybody, including the airline right now at this moment of grief. But we need to get to the bottom of this, because we cannot have this anymore. And the worst part is, guess what? Air India has the word India in it. And I don't like to see my country and my name and the name of my country involved in such a crash. And I think it's high time, like I said.
Just, Martin, allow me to come in. And I completely agree that we've all had, it's a consumer business, so we all know people who've had lousy experiences over the last few years, right? International flights, seats are broken. I know friends who've flown, seats are broken, all kinds of issues. even people flying, business or whatever, it shouldn't be that way for any class.
And here's something, it's been more for the last 5 years. After 2021, it's got accentuated to a point where, passengers can't bear it. I mean, let's face it, from
but
to India in 2011.
Yes.
And we were not, we were angry with Air India for other reasons, right?
Yes. And you're absolutely right. We used to criticize the airline when it was, as you said.
Exactly. Yeah. It was never a product quality. We were angry for airlines for customer services, bad service, blah, blah, blah. But and the aircraft held together. It was a good aircraft. But today, Air India, the Air India that we see today is cosmetic. It's just branding.
But my question is this, Martin. Are you pointing to, these issues inside the aircraft? I mean, basically coming from lack of maintenance, upgrade or whatever. Are you linking that with the general attitude, which perhaps may have, cost in some lack of maintenance?
You're absolutely,
because is there a link between that and, of course, something like this happening?
You're spot on. You're spot on. I think that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And not just that, let's also link the whole objective of the management position on this whole airline. The first thing you do when you take over Air India is you should have cleaned the skeletons in the cupboard and sorted out the fundamentals and reinforced the basement and foundation. You can't just do a branding on the top and hope like hell that everything improves. It's never going to happen, guys. We've seen it with Tata Motors in the past. We've seen it with how many transformations in the past. Tata Steel. Air India is experts at doing this. They earned their PhD at business transformation. And to see Air India, it's been 4 years, to see the Tata Group and Singapore Airlines, mind you, fail at turning around Air India, 4 years. It says a lot, and this nonchalant attitude, you're right and you're spot on. You've said it the way it is. It's high time that changed now. And it's high time, somebody rolled up their sleeves, got down and dirty, fixed that airline ground up. Because, we cannot see any more of this. Air India is planning an IPO in 6 months, in about a year from now. So this messes the whole thing up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Although I want to also point out that we don't know what caused the accident, but take your points on the quality and the customer service and the experience, etc. I completely take that point. But what I'm saying is we don't know whether we can link that to what caused the accident. I think we need to keep that in mind as well.
I agree. I think we should not speculate. Let a full-blown investigation come out.
Absolutely. Let's just get Kinjal in as well. Kinjal, thanks for waiting. Your first thoughts on what's happened and, how do you look at this from an aviation sector perspective now?
Obviously, this has been a very unfortunate incident, which no one would want to happen. We've seen certain such incidents happen in the past as well. But when I talk from the industry point of view at this point in time, obviously such incidents do have some impact on the overall supply of aircraft that could come in the near term, because there would be certain checks at Boeing level and at the airline level that would keep on happening. And when we saw incidents with Boeing 737 MAX happening in the past, we did see that there were issues in terms of delays in delivery of aircraft, and the industry overall did face a supply issue. And this also comes at a time when the industry is anyways struggling with supply issues because of the aircraft on ground, because of the Pratt & Whitney engine issues. So roughly as on March 2025, we had around 16% of the fleet of the Indian aviation industry being grounded because of these P&W engine issues. Obviously, it's lower than the earlier numbers when the issues started cropping up. But the recovery or resolution is still happening. And we need to see that how supply gets impacted in the near term. Currently, in a scenario where the aviation industry demand is expected to continue to be very robust. So FY25, we ended with roughly 7.5 to 8% growth for the domestic aviation industry. And ICRA estimates that FY26 also would see a similar 7 to 10% YOY growth in domestic passenger traffic. So in such a scenario, the supply of aircraft is going to be very critical to help service the demand for airlines.
Kinjal, what does this mean for the other Indian airlines? Say in Interglobe Aviation, how does this fallout, this tragic incident, reshape the entire aviation sector in India? Can it hurt AI?
See, it's difficult to comment on airline specifics because, like I mentioned earlier, that we've seen these issues crop up in the past. Obviously, resolutions take time, and the industry takes time to come to the path of steady recovery. But despite these issues in the past, we've seen industry recover gradually, and that's what's going to be the expectation going forward as well. That there would be certain solutions which will come up, and we could probably get over these situations at the earliest.
Okay, all right. I think, it's a conversation we'll continue to have. But for now, we'll say thank you to both of you, Kinjal and Martin. Appreciate you coming on today to talk about this particular issue at this point in time, the accident which has happened. Hopefully, we'll get answers sooner rather than later in terms of what really went on.